Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the official South Florida Real Estate Podcast. This is episode 4, and today we are interviewing the one and only Brandon Niemela, the owner of One Stop Mortgage. He's had such a huge impact in my life, and what I really love about Brandon is that he was actually a top producing $1 million realtor that built a team around him. And then he goes on to own a mortgage company, and he's passionate about helping realtors build their own team and make a lot of money as well. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce Brandon. And first question I'd like to ask you is, what was your journey like to becoming a $1 million agent?
Well, thank you so much for having me on. This is amazing. So the journey was pretty epic. Actually, when I got my real estate license before I became a loan officer. So back 10 years ago, I was in trouble. I had started another business. I had left a different industry altogether. That's a whole different story. And my partner cheated me, and I was just in the hole. So I jumped in. It was Christmas Day. Me and my wife got started selling houses and actually doing rentals in the beginning, where we went to town, and we just, we got traction and started kind of building up a team. I think I became a real estate broker about 6 years ago. And I started an office, but I made every mistake that every agent can make. Luckily, I have a value of growing. So, I hit the wall a bunch of times until I realized, well, I need a coach and I needed training. And so, I love the whole world of coaching and personal development. It's just, I could just be lost in that.
Yeah, same here.
So yeah, that's something I like about you, man. But, so we, one step at a time, realized that, the mortgage part of the transaction was very, very important, maybe even more so than what the real estate agent was doing. And it felt like, when I was working with a loan officer, they were an extension of my team, and I needed them not to drop the ball, which it was such a painful thing when that happened. Yeah. And so we're not all made the same, these loan officers out there and stuff. And so we're like, that was a constant stress that we had. And we wanted to solve that problem. So Melinda, she got my wife and partner got licensed, and kind of the rest was history. She went right to the top. She hung her license with a broker, and I think within a year or so, she was doing as many loans as he was. Yeah. And then he started asking her advice, and we were like, shoot. This is interesting. I kind of love this whole industry. Yeah. It's whole different energy than being a realtor. It's it's different, and I love it, and I feel like I was built for it. Absolutely.
Now I have my perspectives on this, but I want to hear from you.
Yeah.
When you started the company.
Yeah.
And also, today, in your opinion, what sets One Stop Mortgage apart from the other mortgage companies in the industry?
Well, yeah, that's a great question. We have a high value of excellence, and our focus has always been customer first, to our detriment. We would buy houses for customers.
Yeah, I remember that.
I think I bought 3 houses. I'm like, it's my name on the line. People are trusting me. I will not let this deal fall through. So we bring that work ethic. And that's what I want from all the loan officers that would come, and I will bend over backwards and help. Now we have a real estate fund, so I save deals. Yeah. Hard money, fund I have, all the time if I have to. But I would say, what sets us apart? We're very competitive with interest rates. I think we have systems and processes that are just unique. And I think it's because of my experience coming from the real estate world into the lending world, where we build all of our systems and processes around high level of communication. So I think that's to our, our operating systems and everything, to our LPs, processors. Like, we build that into the process. We want to leave. One of our company values is unforgettable impact. Is we have a chance to be able to impact this family for the good.
Yeah.
Because I've seen it in the negative, and boy, that's an ugly thing.
Yeah, it's so important to have an unforgettable impact, especially for the biggest transaction of somebody's life.
Yeah, totally.
And I think that that's something that you hold really near and dear to you with your experience in real estate, that I think a lot of the times loan officers tend to forget, because as loan officers, we see so many more transactions on average than the average realtor. And so it can become a lot more transactional for loan officers. But on the real estate side, it's so much more intimate and relational. Mm-hmm. And I think when loan officers can grasp that mindset and perspective from the very beginning and never let go of that, that's what can really set people apart.
Yeah, that is a really good point. When you're an agent and you can get to do 4 or 5 transactions a month, that's like you're celebrated. You're a huge deal.
Yeah. Whereas if a loan officer is doing 4 or 5 deals a month, you got to step it up.
Yep.
Yeah,
for sure.
Now let's talk about communication, because in my opinion, there's 4 things that sets One Stop Mortgage apart. And that is communication, operations, product flexibility, and interest rates. Well, let's start with the first one. How does communication play a role with One Stop Mortgage, in that being a core value to you?
Well, I'm an over communicator by nature, so I'm again, to my detriment. Like, I can't let it go. Like, I'm going to respond as quickly as possible, especially if there's challenges or issues in the transaction. You step up your communication, or the general. I find generally people want to back off. I'm like, no, you got to tackle that beast and hit it hard.
Yep.
So we talk about this fondly. We found this really awesome platform called Arrive.
Yeah.
And it has done something that I've always wanted, before I became a loan officer, the communication, automatic communication.
Yep.
The realtor ends up doing the realtor and the loan officer end up working in a partnership.
Yeah.
And, sometimes the realtor needs to help get documents collected and stuff. And a lot of times these agents, they're willing to help. They just don't, they don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this system that we have, it's full transparency. So the realtor knows exactly where we're at in the process. So I thought that was cool, because I never saw that, before. I was calling, my past, loan officers that I would work with, back in the day, and be asking for updates and stuff.
Yeah.
So on the way we have it set up is we're like over communicating, like, here, jump in your portal and it's all there,
Yeah, absolutely. And having been on the direct lending side for 6 years, almost 7 years, I was at Cross Country Mortgage, for example, even before they were very big and everything. And up until I left in November, there was just the most clunky software you could imagine called Encompass. It took like 5 minutes for anything to load. And there was no kind of constant communication. Whereas in Arrive with One Stop Mortgage, not only do our real estate partners have the ability to send their own pre-approval letters up to the maximum limit that we set for that individual client. That way there's zero error. So they can send a pre-approval letter anytime, 24/7, with literally the click of a button once we have their client pre-approved. But also it allows the client and the realtor to receive constant updates, both automated and customized, from literally lead intake to close.
Yeah, I'm pretty jazzed about it. That was always the thing. I'm writing an offer. As an agent, you're always on, and it's, it's 10 o'clock at night, could be midnight, and whatever it is. And you need a pre-approval letter, and you want it to be specific to the price of what you're offering.
Yeah.
So I'm like, crap, I need this pre-approval letter to accompany the offer. And I would actually had asked for this like a number of times. Just give me your letterhead. Let me write. They're like, no, we can't do that. We're not set up that way. You could end up, writing a pre-approval that's, we can't back up. So this system allows, an agent like someone on my team or just jump in and go to town and write that pre-approval letter, and you can have it spit out and just seconds, couple clicks of a button, and you're not ever in any risk of having them buy a house they can't afford, because everything's all preset in there.
Yeah, absolutely. And the fact that you and your wife, Melinda, shout out to Melinda, you guys run the company together.
Yeah.
Melinda is an operations queen. And so there's always someone that I can reach out to on the back end, for anything that I need.
Yeah.
Which is super powerful. Now, what I love about you guys is you're really big on charts. Having been to your house several times. And what you guys did is you guys sat down, you went through almost a SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, things of that nature of what you're seeing in the market. And you guys did this when you were realtors, and you literally wrote out exactly what hole needs to be filled in lending. And that's always been my goal. Ever since I got into the business, I wanted to be the best partner for my realtors out there. And I just didn't have the backing of the company owners that really saw that vision as well. But you guys started the company vision with that at the center.
Yeah. You're right. We love analyzing and doing our charts and stuff. It just kind of, I don't know. It just felt like God just kind of led us into this, just kind of a leading, like one thing to another. And you've said this before, we do have kind of a unique perspective, coming from the world that we came from.
Yeah.
So we're just super excited for what we have and what we can offer loan officers. It's pretty exciting.
Now, I can definitely unpack this as well, but I want to hear from your opinion. How has our company been able to offer better rates and operations out there compared to the direct lending business model?
All right. So let me answer that in two parts. So let me shout out. You already shouted out. I got to shout out to my wife again, because you're absolutely right. If I'm a communication beast, I don't know. She's a Godzilla. I think I learned actually communication better through her. So she runs a tight ship. She doesn't let things slide. Like she jumps in. She's amazing with guidelines and everything. But so that part aside, the people aspect of the business, which I think we have an extremely strong team. We run a pretty lean operation. We're not like this huge, massive, company with all kinds of overhead. So what we do is we're just going to pass the savings on to the buyers, and we're going to just stay competitive and lean.
Yeah. Yeah. And what he means by that is in the direct lending business model, the branches don't have to disclose their margin. And so what I noticed when I was on the direct side for 6 years is I would get beat out by other guys that were mortgage brokers like you, and they would beat me by sometimes a whole percent, 100 basis points, sometimes more than that. It was mind boggling to me because I was drinking the Kool-Aid of the direct lender side. And there's so many other loan officers going through pain right now that are still drinking that Kool-Aid and still feeling so much pain because they're missing out on very well qualified deals. And the thing is, on the broker side, you don't have all that branch margin. You don't have to pay regional executives these, $1 million salaries. And that's really cutting into the client's points and interest rate. And it's just so unfortunate. And so, having sought after the best rates on the market, looking literally everywhere, I found you guys. So you guys are truly lean and mean and do offer the most competitive rates that I could find.
Yeah, man. Lean, mean, and green. That's how we like to stay.
So true.
And I always, just going back to what you said, found it fascinating that direct lenders, what they get paid it's left off the closing disclosure,
Yeah.
There's no transparency, We had looked at one point, and then we shut it down real quickly, the direct lending world, and just was curious. And there was this one company that was trying to recruit us and talk to us. And it was like, yeah, man, you don't have to disclose any of this stuff on FHA deals or VA deals, I will, if the client doesn't really, not too educated and whatnot, you can go all the way. Their model was a little bit different, but you could, go to like 600 basis points, or you could go to,
that's evil.
It's evil. Yeah. And I was like, I couldn't believe what I was hearing. And I'm
It's
like,
disgusting.
And you can't, it's not going to show up on the closing disclosure when you're in the loan brokerage world. It's always disclosing. I'm like, it's transparent. Brokers are better. I'm like
100%. So what he's saying is that on the direct side, that company, for example, was going to make 600 basis points, 6%. At one stop, the company is going to make 2.75, and then the LO gets their cut from that. Mm-hmm. So think about it. That's over 300 basis points better.
Yeah. And he was like trying to like show this to me. I felt like a used carsman. I was like, wow, this was earlier on when we got licensed and we were, opening our company and everything. And we just wanted to look and see what the direct lending world was like. That's icky,
Yeah,
exactly. I don't want to do that. I want to offer the best rates. I want to do the best for my customers,
Yeah, exactly. And that's what us loan officers want at the center of everything. We just want the best rates, and we want to close faster than anybody. Mm. And that's what One Stop offers. I got that 6-day clear to close. The company average is 13 days.
Yeah.
That is way faster than even where I was previously. And they were known for their speed.
Mm. Yeah. I tend to, I'm glad that you track all this stuff too. Cause I tend to just put my head down to the ground and we just work. And then we don't realize that, wow, we're doing some good work. Like that's pretty quick,
So fast. It's so fast. And that's because we have such a great team. We have Kathy, we have Ashley. You want to unpack like who are the members of our team and why the experience is catered to the client?
The dream team. Well, we talked about my wife, Melinda, the operations queen guru, the heartbeat of the company. She's amazing. Then you have Ashley, who was hand selected by Melinda, trained, mentored. One of her superpowers we have for her is beast mode enabled.
Yes, she really is.
Yes, she can handle a lot, and she's hungry. She's just the work ethic. Like she's cut from the same cloth. As soon as we met her, it was like, you're coming with us and we're never going to let you go. We pay her very well because we love her and she does amazing work.
Yes.
So that's Ashley. And then we got our Southern belle, Kathy, which I love dearly. And she's, 22 years of experience, and she's, from banks to direct lenders to, she's seen it all.
Yeah.
She saw our operation was like, I'm in. So our loan partner, she's, I've actually have had real estate transactions, problems come up that are outside of our control and stuff. And me and her were on like a conference call with this big buyer. And it was like, she was like a bishop of, I think 200 churches or something like that. And she was mad because a verification of employment had to happen, and it was like real sensitive and they needed to call and verify. And, Kathy jumped in with her Southern hospitality charm and she smoothed the whole thing over. Like, she's done this numbers of times. She has a great way with people and diffusing situations.
Yeah.
Yep.
She really does. She's really incredible and she's very proactive.
Yeah.
Very proactive. That's what I love about her.
Oh yeah.
Now, what are some of the biggest challenges facing loan officers in today's market?
Well, last year was like a bomb went off in the industry. We were up like 3 points.
Yeah.
What did that do to you? Let me turn the question back. What happened last year in your world?
Yeah. Well, luckily I hustle out there. I work my tail off, but I know loan officers out there who have been in the business for 20 years.
Yeah.
That went from closing 15 deals a month to 2.
Yeah.
And that 2 was a good month for them.
Yeah.
So there's some companies out there that were down 80%.
Yeah.
And that's exactly why it is so important to be a buyer-centric company and a realtor-centric company.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, these realtor relationships are everything. Just why we have set up the systems that we did. High level communication, arrive. We make sure they are set up in a portal and communicate.
Yeah. Communication is almost everything.
We want to make the agent look good, get the win in the transaction. So that's, because that's what I wanted when I was doing real estate, I didn't want them tooting their own horn and everything. So, when I didn't have a partner and I just was working with a random loan officer, it was almost felt like it was combative in some ways.
Yeah. Yeah. Unpack that for me.
Yeah. Well, I happen to have a pretty good hit rate of when I have someone I'm going to refer, my buyers listen to me. It's because I listen to them and I understand what their needs are. So, yeah. But in the rare cases when it was no, we're going to use this other loan officer and, there's nothing I could say or do or whatever. It was just kind of the energy was different, man. It was it's not my people, different values, Yeah. And the communication was always a nightmare. Yeah. I'm man. Yeah.
And that's such a tough feeling. It's such a tough feeling and that's what I love about the fact that you've been there and you felt that pain.
Yeah.
And that's why you wanted to bring a remedy to the industry for that.
Totally. Also too, it was painful when my agent shopped and I had worked with a lot of direct lenders, unfortunately. And when that happened, it reflected badly on me.
Yeah.
When, and my team too, 'cause I had a bunch of agents and stuff under me and whatnot. When they shopped and, they were, this other lender or whatever was half a point or a point, it was it made me look bad.
Yeah, man. It's like getting
they're
stabbed.
They don't trust, Then my buyers are who are you referring me to? You, how much money are you making out of that? I'm I'm not making it. What do you?
Exactly. You can only take that for so long. I took it for 6 years and then I was no, I'm going to find the best rates on the market. The best rates. Absolutely. Now let's talk a little bit about our goals for the future.
Yeah. So exciting. So, we are licensed in 6 states,
and counting.
Yes. So, we're going to just keep adding states and whatnot. And we've done some deals outside, these other states and whatnot. So we want to leave that open for, loan officers coming on who have relationships in different states, to be able to grow, build. Ultimately, we do want to start opening branch offices and growing. Their focus is right now. We're in Florida. We're just getting rolling, getting traction. It's been amazing so far. So the future is very bright, and we are very growth minded.
Very growth minded, and that's what you and I both love about being on the finance side of things. It's so scalable.
Yeah, and that was the thing too about I want to make an impact on this world. It's one of my values, impact. And I'm I felt I wasn't going to have that same impact on the real estate world and the lending world. You're right. You can scale. And I feel we got some secret sauce here that we can really help.
Yes.
Loan officers. We can help agents. We can make a difference.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things we do is we pre-underwrite the file up front. And that is so important for getting out any of the mistakes. That's actually the one good thing that being on the direct lending side of things at Cross Country, they did really well, was we would pre-underwrite the files. And drinking the Kool-Aid, I was always told, oh, you can't do that on the broker side. And I quickly discovered, you can do it on the broker side. You can do it faster and you can actually do it a lot more accurately.
Oh yeah.
And that is so powerful. I mean, I can't believe that there's some loan officers out there that don't pre-underwrite their file. You're really putting the file, at jeopardy. And just for any realtors out there, what that means is when you pre-approve a client, you go one step above the pre-approval. You put it in front of an underwriter and you actually ask the underwriter to condition the file for you as if you were under contract, even though you're not. And that's so powerful because sometimes you need a written verification of employment. You need a few letters of explanation. You need other documents. And guess what? Loan officers do not approve mortgages. The only person that approves a mortgage is the underwriter.
Yeah, totally.
100%.
It's such a good point too. And it's kind of shocking. You're right that there are companies out there that won't don't do that extra step.
Exactly.
You know? They're rolling the dice on the transaction, my friend. I'm like, I don't work that way. I can't.
Exactly. Now, how has our company adapted to the changing landscape of lending out there?
Well, I would say we're looking at it like our core competencies. So we're communication. The agent is so important. Our agent partners. So our relationships with them, adding value to them. And because they're going through it too, especially if they work with a lot of buyers, their business has been down a bit. So rallying around them is huge. Staying lean and keeping those interest rates competitive. That is something that's going to be very important to me as we bring this company forward. Definitely staying lean, staying competitive.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So what are some of our future plans that we have in store, especially for our loan officers?
Yeah, that's such a great question. Well, first and foremost, we got to bring them all to Cinco de Molina.
Yes.
For your audience out there, Chris does events like nobody I know. And he does this thing called Cinco de Molina. And it's at Top Golf, or it's at
Drive Shack.
Drive Shack. Yeah. Like hundreds of people show up for that. So
and this year we'll be inviting loan officers to it as well.
Yeah. So we just the company culture that we have, I think it's something special. We want to work with folks that are power players. We put it all out there, and we're going to take care of folks. So we have just ideas of different markets that we're planning on opening up. We're just getting stable and everything. Some things had shifted in our market right now, but I can see right now the sky's the limit. Like there is opportunity galore
Absolutely.
out there, and we got the right model and I think the right approach. Yeah. So we're going to be looking at Florida, and we're going to be looking at what areas can we put one-stop flag all over.
Absolutely. And it's about partnering with specific loan officers. Not everybody is going to be ambitious and have this, have that impact player mindset and core values that we have.
Yeah.
And we're going to be very specific about aligning ourselves with only the individuals that have the same values that we have.
Shall I give you the values? Just put it out there.
Throw them out. Let's roll.
Unforgettable impact. And we were doing an event together, and really kind of the feedback that we had gotten from the event was kind of summed up in one word, was caring.
Care.
Yeah. And that's all me and Melinda wanted to do. When we got into real estate side, we just wanted to take care of our customers like a heartbeat,
And every agent that came to our lunch and learns last week said, hey, I felt more cared for at these lunch and learns than any other I've ever been to.
Yeah.
I was not expecting that. We were just being ourselves, being authentic,
being authentically us. The caring. What is it? The line from Zig Ziglar, so good. If you take care of enough people, then you'll ultimately be taken care of.
Yes.
Stay focused on them and their needs. And
yes.
You'll have plenty.
That's true value at the end of the day.
Yeah, I could go on and on about our values, but let me jump through these a little bit faster. So unforgettable impact, hospitality is one.
Yeah.
And then we have power player and team player.
Yes.
Which the power player, you are the embodiment, and team player. It's like,
thank you.
The work ethic, the integrity, growth minded, both professional and personal growth. It all matters, because whatever's inside your heart always ends up, in the transaction, one way or another,
Absolutely.
So, and having that victorious mindset where you're not stepping into like victimhood. I see a lot of people, get affected by the news, get their hearts like, toxic, gunk inside of you, and they start sliding into, bad mindsets and stuff. So having that winning mindset, the abundance mindset.
Yes, absolutely.
Not looking at problem focus. We're looking at solution. We're looking at purpose focus,
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you hit the nail on the head. It's about not having a victim mentality, because when the Fed raises rates between 300 to 400 basis points, okay, only three things are going to happen. There's some loan officers that are going to get out of the business. There's some loan officers that are going to get crushed and stay in the business. And then there's other loan officers that are going to innovate and dominate and blow up their business.
Yes, absolutely. Yep.
And that's why we're looking for specific loan officers. For example, if you're a top producing loan officer, if you have a team, we want to interview you. We want to partner with you and enable you through leveraged events that we're doing that we can brand for you as well, to really have the deepest level of impact to your real estate partners, to have something to invite all the realtors in your area to, and to really create that reputation that is second to none.
Yeah. Our events are so good. I'm a little bit biased, but they're so good. The venues, we got a great lineup of speakers and stuff. But I want to empower loan officers to do this. Come to our events, see what's possible.
Absolutely. And to really simplify the essence of One Stop Mortgage is you guys basically took all the great positive aspects about being on the direct lending side, and you simply enable loan officers to do that, but with the best rates on the market, which is one thing that the direct side will never have.
Yep. That's kind of what happened.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. And it's helped my business in such a profound way. It's helped my reputation. It's helped my client experience. And it's just a very, very beautiful thing. Now, what kind of advice would you give to loan officers that are considering to join our team or considering to just make a transition in the industry in general?
Here's good advice. Listen closely. Follow after Molina Monday. Follow. I have so much faith and belief in you, my man. You are a juggernaut in the industry already. I think, what you do and what you bring, people need to be around folks like you. That's the culture that we want. This growth minded,
Thank you.
I would say, I've grown the most when I've gotten around the right people. Yeah. There's all kinds of companies that are always going to offer different bells and whistles and strategies, but nothing can replace being around a like-minded, have the same passion, going in the same direction.
Absolutely. Yeah. Now, how has coaching played a role in your career?
Well, I love my gurus and stuff. Maybe I've loved them too much. I've had I think it was year 3, and I realized I need a mentor and a coach. I took off. I think my first year I did close to 50 transactions as a real estate agent, which I thought was normal. I just worked, and I realized that wasn't normal, but it was, me and my wife just jamming out deals and stuff. And then, running into different problems, trying to scale and, the goal was always to get to that $1 million mark. I think, any agent that's in the biz wants to join the $1 million club, so leveraging coaching. And I've picked up some things, and sometimes it's not even the coaching session itself. It's the networking. It's again, getting back to circling yourself with the right people. They say that you're the common denominator, the 5 people that you spend the most amount of time with. Yep. So getting around that, getting the right mindset. Mindset is everything in sales. We have a pretty sweet coaching company. A guy named Carl White, if you guys know who I'm talking about, we've been following after him, follow-up plans, in our own mortgage company. So I highly value coaching, not to the point though of abdicating thinking.
Yes.
So I had been in that trap, swinging to the other end of the pendulum where you're just like, you gotta think for yourself in your own individual market and stuff. But mentors, coaches, And sometimes what you need is not a business coach. You just need a different kind of coach. You need someone to actually just speak encouragement. Into you. You need someone to speak life. And I found that in my own life, business can be pretty hard out there, Yeah. And sometimes you got to deal with stuff.
Absolutely. And I think it's important for loan officers to have a bigger pile mindset, and you got to follow the money. So you got to actively seek out and try to understand who's dominating in your industry. And having been trained in the core, which is, very similar to Carl White's program. The core has a bigger pile mindset. So all the coaches are active producing coaches. And, like you said, there's some gurus out there that aren't producing and still want you to buy into and surrender to the mindset with 100%, totalitarian surrender. And I think that's awesome, but only if they're still doing it currently and they understand what your day-to-day struggles are.
Yeah. In the real estate world, the coach that I had landed on was Craig Proctor. And what I respected about him was that he still was selling 500 homes a year.
Yeah.
In Canada. I don't know much about that market, but it was impressive. And I'm like, okay. And he runs this massive coaching, company. So, but you got to just be careful not to get to like, I had found, and I'm speaking about my own life, that you can't take the general mass. You need sometimes you need more specific, type coaching. You need someone to have the ability to look into what you're doing in your business and be like, have you ever thought about doing that instead of that,
Yes.
And our market keeps changing, technology and everything keeps changing. So that's what I love about, going to these conferences and stuff and just refreshing and seeing what's out there, what's new,
Absolutely.
Like you brought to my attention, Chat GPT. I'm like, dude,
AI.
Yeah, man. I've been using that. Game changing right there. That's
so exciting. It is so exciting, but even more exciting and important to life in general. I want to ask you, how has faith played a role in your life and your career?
It's kind of one of those things. It's part of, who I am, who my wife is, we actually, we love our mission statements and, need to know the direction of where we're going. So hopefully I don't butcher this. My wife is going to be listening to this. Me and my wife, we exist to create atmospheres that demonstrate God's love and influence life transformation.
Wow.
So that's what we want to bring to the world through our work. God's blessed us in so many ways, and He's grown us. Like even more than the financial blessings and all that stuff is the growth. Like that can never be taken away from you. So I'm jazzed. I want to keep growing and I want to help other people grow. I want to make that impact.
And every time I'm with you and Melinda, I feel that so genuinely, and there's some leaders, out there in the mortgage business that may be, quote unquote successful, but you can just tell when you're around them, they don't really want you to succeed, or they don't even want you to ever outgrow them, or else they feel, threatened by that. Whereas with you guys, it's like, hey, what are your goals? How can I help you achieve it? And then what tactics can we put behind it to really make it happen?
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Yeah. God's dealt with insecurities with me, as I've been growing, I've been humbled, and it's really amazing though, to see someone grow, under you. And, it's not, you can't take credit for it. They're doing it. But if you can have some kind of impact that helps them get to the next level, I mean, that's what life's about, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Now, what wakes you up in the morning?
Well, my kids, Annabelle runs in and jumps on my bed. No, Chris, I get up at around 5:30, depending on how late. My son's been wanting to play games till late at night, and I'm trying to nip that in the bud. But I'll get up and I'll just read something. Usually I'll read the Bible, or I'll read something that's just going to get my mind going in the right spot. Because I find sometimes I wake up and it's not, it's not automatically going positive. So I'm excited because then I get to grow. I get to connect with God. I get to connect with my purpose.
Yeah.
I've never been that kind of guy that just can't get out of bed, and I've always been purpose driven.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can really feel that. You can really feel that when you're with you and Melinda, in person. Let's talk about you and being a father. And what's that like while also running a business?
Oh, okay. We're going there.
Yeah.
That's a good question. Man, I've been on a journey of fatherhood. I have to honor my dad in this mix. He didn't always do everything perfectly, but he did instill some things in me that I am eternally grateful for: my faith, my work ethic. But what I've been finding with everything in life, it's intentionality.
Yeah.
You can't automatic parent. It doesn't work. You have to be intentional. And if you want to grow your business, you have to be intentional about it,
Yeah.
You can't just, it's so easy to just kind of let the automatic highway of life just take over. And then you're suddenly not following your own vision or what you really want.
It's so powerful. It's so powerful. And it sounds like you touched base on sacrifice a little bit there. So let me ask you this. How did you make the decision, and when did you make the decision to step down from your $1 million annual real estate business, pass it on to a partner, and really start focusing on lending solely?
Well, it's I think John Maxwell said it, give up to go up.
Yep.
Wow. It was time, and I'm very thankful for all the years in real estate and what I've learned and what I've suffered through. It's a tough business sometimes.
Yeah.
But I felt like it was just kind of a platform for what God's got for me and how I can have a greater impact. For sure.
So powerful. It's so powerful. Now, what are some stories of, loan officers that have joined the business recently and how they have become more successful than they could have imagined?
Well, I got one guy. He jumped in. My fiery Latino. I won't mention his name, but he's awesome. I like him. I love the passion and drive. But he told me, I think it was last week. He was like, "Ashley's changed my life."
Yeah. Wow.
Wow. He's not done. I don't think he's had this many in the pipeline like before ever. And he's just like, "I'm just getting started."
Yeah. And it's a good lesson for you loan officers out there. This was a guy who he wanted to process all his own loans. He wanted control of everything. And probably because he had bad experiences with processors in the past where his reputation.
There was a wound there. Yeah.
There was a big wound there. And that's what's so powerful about Ashley is she's just such a special person, such a special processor that she enhances your relationship with the client and the referring partner. I got a client that's closing at the end of the month that recently did a home equity line of credit with us. And he was like, "I loved Ashley so much. I cannot wait to work with you guys again." Boom. We get a contract and he's closing at the end of the month.
Oh yeah. There's a lot I could say about her, but beast mode is enabled with that one.
Yes. Beast mode enabled.
And so with him, I remember, when we were talking about him joining, and, I'm like, yeah, he's got the work ethic and everything. He was concerned about switching. I think he had that big clunky dinosaur Encompass. Yeah. We should rename that, nickname it,
T-Rex.
T-Rex. Encompass, incompetent.
Incompetent Source Rex.
Yeah, I looked at that one time and I'm like, oh my gosh. So it was almost like in the like we were just kind of showing him our arrive process. He was like, oh my gosh. He was like,
yeah.
And immediately he was almost like knew the system like as good as I knew it immediately. I'm like, because the system's so intuitive or whatever. Yeah.
In my opinion, using Arrive compared to Encompass is like having only gone to look up every answer to all your questions at a library and then finally using Google or ChatGPT for the first time in your life.
Yep. It's pretty amazing, actually.
Yeah. 100%. Anything else you'd like to touch base on and unpack today?
I'd actually like to ask you, what are your, you do such great videos and everything. Where do you see this year going? Do you think this is going to be your best year yet? Tell me a little bit about your plans, your future a little bit.
Yeah, well, you know what? If I were to transition anywhere else, I would say, hey, you know what? Maybe this year is just a setup for next year being my best year ever.
Yeah.
But I really think that this year, especially the last 6 months, it's going to end up being the best year of my career so far. And that's because you guys make it such an easy transition. Oh. And we really have put in some special events for our realtor partners that really are second to none. We really cater to them at such a high level.
Yeah.
And then backing that up with high rates, high communication, and excellent service.
Yeah.
I'm super fired up.
Yeah. Yeah. I've always looked at you as just a leader in the industry, but I'm like, man, there's a new sheriff in town, you know?
Thank you.
I am jazzed, but no, I'm just saying, man, there's great opportunity. People can say what they want about this market, but you can make money in any market.
Yeah.
I mean, I was in flipping houses, in the crash 2008. We're doing pretty darn good.
Yeah.
Back then. So there's a whole story to that backdrop we can cover at a different time.
Well, I love what you just said, because the beautiful part about all these crazy things going on in finance, these bank collapses, XYZ, Silicon Valley Bank, Credit Suisse, these are just opportunities for loan officers to really study what's going on and then go out there and educate your real estate partners before your competitors can even wrap their head around what's going on.
Yeah.
I could call any loan officer in my contact book right now, and probably none of them would really know what's going on with the banking industry and how that's impacting mortgage-backed securities. And so I make that, very intentional to stay on top of it, and then to make a video every Monday for my realtor partners out there that I think, not only the media isn't covering, but maybe the media is lying about certain things, and it's our job as the partners for realtors to set them up for success.
It's kind of just shifting the energy from fear to faith.
Yeah.
It's what a lot of times these agents, they need to be encouraged because they get discouraged. You get a bad deal. I know this personal experience, just the customer's abusive. You can get your mind wrong real quick, and you compound it with listening to the news a little bit, and your mindset's whack. And then you start putting that energy out there.
Yeah.
And it's, so I think the loan officer, we can come in and we can be like, what you do so well, which is actually give the facts of what's happening. But there's also, I feel like it's kind of, you're from the perspective of faith, perspective of abundance. Yes. Cause if the buyer agent's drinking the Kool-Aid and thinking that the market's going to crash or whatever, they're not going to do much business.
Not at all.
You need to have answers,
Yeah.
And that's what we loan officers can do. We can talk from that perspective. It's our world,
Yeah.
We can encourage them. We can give them talking points,
Exactly. And that's called leading up.
Leading up. Yes.
You cannot be afraid. You cannot have the scent of fear. Just like, we've talked about having commission breath and why it's important to be authentic and come from a place of servitude, because people can really smell that commission breath on you.
Oh yeah.
People can also smell fear.
Oh yeah.
And you have to lead your real estate partners. Doesn't matter how old you are. None of those things matter. You don't have to be a 20-year economist to teach realtors about what's going on in the market. You just have to follow all the top economists and really understand your craft and have a passion about it.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes me unique is I fell in love with finance when I was 12 years old.
Yeah.
12 years old. In fact, it actually started, I got bit by the bug a little bit before that. In 7th grade, I won a competition for who could pick the best stock. And then you got a little gift card to this place that sold my favorite chicken tenders. And I looked up who's the richest guy in the world. At that time, it was Carlos Slim. with telecom.
Oh yeah.
And I picked his stock and it went through the roof and it just crushed everybody else's stock picking. That really got me, into just, I really was bit by the bug big time, like Spider-Man in a way,
Yeah.
And then in high school, I joined the stock market club and I knew from a young age, listen, when my soccer career ends, when I get injured or when I just can't play anymore, I am going to go into finance. And then when I was 17, I was injured. I had a broken ankle. That was before I broke my knee. It was the third time I broke my ankle. I was out for it was the third week I was out. And I think I was a little depressed at that point because I hate being injured. I hate sitting out and not being able to be in the arena and be in the action. That's when I read a book by Grant Cardone, The 10X Rule.
Oh yeah.
And this was a guy who his dad died when he was 10 years old. He became a drug addict. He had to go to rehab. Then he gets out, gets his life together, and becomes a whole new person and goes from being 25 years old without any connections, anything of that nature. He wasn't a trust fund baby. And then now he has $4.1 billion in multifamily real estate that he has as asset under management. And it really opened my eyes about, wow, like what's possible out there. So life is not just about making money. Life is about making money, saving money, and then multiplying your money to where when you're gone, you can take care of your family and, it's like the quote in the Bible. You want to be able to take care of the future generations as well.
Yes. Yeah. I gotta remember the quote. I shouldn't forget, a good man leaves, money, wealth for his children's children.
Yes.
Goes down generations.
Yes.
Yeah. It's so good. I love that book. And what a great story too. He who got pistol whipped, right?
Yeah.
Cardone.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so inspiring. And I actually, when I was around that age too, I think I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Wow.
That book actually changed my life.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You never know what book you're going to read that's going to just light a fire,
Exactly. So it was at that time when I fell in love with real estate and I was already in love with finance. And so by the grace of God, I got into the business when I was 18, 19. I was the youngest mortgage banker in America. I'm sure people could look that up and verify it. I don't think there's anyone else that was as fresh and young as I was that got an NMLS license at that time.
Yeah.
I will put my money on that.
We got to get you a plaque from the Guinness Book of World Records. See, that's amazing.
Furthermore, I believe I was the youngest mortgage banker in America that didn't have a personal family connection in the business.
Yeah.
Because how many kids, maybe their dad has a company and then they get a mortgage license to go work with their dad.
Yeah, totally.
My parents never owned a home. My parents are both immigrants that came to this country with nothing.
Wow.
So I have that edge. I have that desire to help people build wealth because there's so many people out there that still don't even know that, for example, the average net worth of a homeowner is $300,000. The average net worth of a renter is $8.
Yeah, it is shocking. Yep. And it comes down to what you're saying, that mindset gets passed down from generation to generation. And I'm constantly shocked by that. And that was a passion of mine when I was in real estate, first time home buyer. I know that can be difficult and more work and stuff, but boy, it felt good though. Like, I feel like I'm doing the Lord's work, they're actually building wealth. They're doing something, And
you are, in this business, we are doing the Lord's work because the enemy is out there, increasing the wealth gap. And the school systems are unfortunately too often working with the enemy to withhold the real information that the younger generations should be educated on, such as credit, how to balance a checkbook, how to build wealth, how to provide for your family.
Yeah. Well, they're just being programmed to be in the rat race,
Exactly.
Just, that's why you got to surround yourself with people. Got to open your mind up and read these books,
Absolutely.
Connect,
Absolutely. Now, man, how do you stay fit? How do you keep your hustle young? What's the secret?
Have kids and get a trampoline. That's so going back to the fathering thing, man, that's a leg workout.
You guys do have an awesome trampoline.
Yeah. So, being young is, I've always thought of it as more of a kind of a state of mind. I mean, I highly value, fitness. So I enjoy running. You got to find the exercise, the thing that brings life to you, whatever
Yeah.
that thing is. I think you're a runner too. I think you got a better pace than I do, but, but yeah, no, I can zone out though. I can go to that right place, right thinking, I podcast or whatever on, and it just, it doesn't even feel like it's exercise. It's just pure enjoyment,
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All righty. Anything else you would like to unpack today?
So much we've already gotten unpacked. I think we can land this plane here somewhere around here. What do you think?
I think it's time to land this puppy. Absolutely. Oh, real quick.
Yeah.
Somebody very near and dear to you that actually has their own landing strip, right?
Oh, yes. My father-in-law.
Yeah. Let's tell the audience one crazy story about that.
Okay. Well, yeah, my father-in-law has been like a mentor in my life. Amazing man. He's writing a book, actually. I can't wait for it to come out.
Incredible.
I live some of these stories with him. I worked for his company before I got into real estate. And dude, we were in the trash hauling business, like straight mob,
Yeah.
and he's a believer. He's Christian. He's, and there's so many unethical, I could tell you crazy stories about that. And I would get a big job. Like I got the Marlins ballpark, stadium. That was one of my big recycling jobs that I got down there, and death threats and stuff from these tough,
from the competitors, right?
Competitors and stuff. But so he has done very well and so many things, but he had a plane, and he bought this 80 acres in Wellington, kind of the Everglades now. And he just wanted to have his own, landing strip, and, didn't want to have to, he just wanted to be able to drive his plane out and take off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy, and he just went and did it. He bought the land, and so the thing was, he never tested landing it. He would take off, and then he would land it somewhere else. But he was always afraid because, he paved his long driveway, but it was never
tested. Yeah.
Never tested. And then Wellington built this big fence because there's a preserve next to his property now. And so that kind of threw him off. But one day I was up in the air with him, and it's a kit plane. He had two different planes. So he had the plane built. So it's like, I was always insecure about that, but he's like doing barrel rolls and backflips and stuff. And he's like, I want to try to land this plane now on my property. I'm like, I think I can do it. I'm like, okay. All right. So we come down, and we're coming down in for the landing, and he's just like, I don't like the fence. I don't like the fence. I feel like I'm too close. My wing might hit it. What can you see it? I'm like, I don't know. Like, I'm not a pilot. And he comes flying down and decides he's just not going to do it, not going to land. So he pulls up. Last minute, we're hovering over the ground like a few feet. And my life is flashing before my eyes. And he just shoots back up. But he's like, you know what? That was just a test. Everything's a test. Let's do it again. I learned a lot from just doing that. And then so he tried it again, and we got it.
That's so funny.
So, but my wife has had more death-defying. He actually got in had such a bad landing. His wife was like, "We're not ever flying again."
But just a testament to what kind of incredible guy this is. He's a guy who started a company from scratch in a very competitive industry where his competitors were literally in the mob, and this guy refused to ever cut corners ethically whatsoever, and he became very, very successful in an industry where some people probably thought you just could not do that. And you guys definitely take after that, and the people that have taught you, and you guys have had as mentors in your life, and it's an honor to have you as a mentor in my life. And it's an honor to be partners with you in business, to go out there every day and to serve our customer, and to truly deliver a valuable, impactful product.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Hey man, the honor is all mine. I'm thrilled that all that you bring, we talk about mindset. You have the winning mindset.
Thank you so much.
And you're humble too, it's like, it's a winning combination,
Well, you know what? You're the same exact way. So to land this puppy, if you are a top producing loan officer out there, if you have a winning mindset, but you're on the direct lending side of things and you're sick and tired of having high rates and you keep losing out your well-qualified customers to other companies, we're coming for you. We want to partner with you. We want to find out, what do you need specifically? How can we help you blow your numbers up from 2020 and 2021? Because you can do those numbers again when you have the right people around you and the right business plan and tactics in place. So if you want to blow up your business, we are coming for you. Be on the lookout.
Yeah, we want to get our arms around you and help you get to the next level. That was what I had wanted in real estate. I understand there's levels. Just a quick story. I was stuck at a certain threshold in business, and it was so painful. Why can't I do more? What is going on? Well, I got a mentor, and his name's Greg. Hi, Greg.
Shout out to Greg.
Yeah, and he's a marriage coach. He was a business coach or whatever, but some of the what he did for me, I'm hungry to be able to help do for other people. If you have the winning attributes, I think, which is power player, team player, gift of hospitality, want to make an unforgettable impact.
Yeah.
I think we should talk. I think we should have coffee. I think we should see if we're a fit. And I think we can all accomplish more together.
100%.
Yeah.
Brandon, thank you so much for being on the show. You're going to be back on.
Thank you. This is fun.
Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes episode 4 of the official South Florida Real Estate Podcast. Have an amazing day. Be great. Let's go get this one.